I will give myself permission to rest, regroup, cancel a call, reschedule a call when I just don't have the energy to show up as my best self, right? Instead of pushing through and feeling burnt out. So it's not about doing less. It's really just about doing it smarter and with more compassion for yourself. Welcome to the Creative Bodega, a podcast about content marketing, Instagram growth, and personal branding for female service-based solopreneurs who want to grow their business without letting it take over their lives. I'm your host, Em Connors, and each week I'll share actionable tips, expert advice, and unfiltered truths to help you create engaging content, connect authentically with your audience, and turn followers into loyal customers, all without the burnout. If you're ready to simplify your content creation, navigate the ever-changing trends, and build a business that works for you while staying sane in this crazy season of life, then you're in the right place. You guys are in for a treat today. Guys, hopefully girls, but you know what? If guys want to listen to this, I'm totally cool with that too, because menstruating is one of the most natural amazing things that the female body has done for all of time. And it shouldn't be something we're embarrassed about, and it shouldn't be something we hide, and it should be something that the men who are important to us in our lives understand. So you might have noticed that there are some weeks when you are on fire with ideas, batching content like a machine, showing up on stories like you're the most confident human being in the world. And then there's other weeks where you can barely open your laptop without wanting to cry or rage quitting your business. Or for me, formulating complete sentences. So that time for me is around the corner, which is why I am batching 3 podcasts today to get ahead of it, because I have to, because I know that next week my brain will not be working as sharply and I will not be able to formulate words as clearly as I can this week. It's not about laziness. It's not about inconsistency. It's your cycle. And it's actually completely normal for menstruating females to have times of the month that everything just feels easier and more exciting, and times of the month where you question absolutely everything about your life and your business and your partner and your decision to become a mother. I'm just kidding. I would never change my decision to become a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. But I want to dive in today about how cycle syncing your content creation, planning, and your business tasks as a whole as a female entrepreneur, so that you can really stop fighting your body and start working with it. So this episode is going to be for you if you feel super creative one week and then totally wiped out the next, if you beat yourself up for not being consistent, or if you want a content and marketing workflow that feels sustainable as a female entrepreneur. So I'm going to break down the 4 phases of your cycle and how they're going to impact your energy, your focus, and your creativity, and how to align your content creation and plan accordingly. So this, honest to God, could change the way you run your business forever. I hope it does. I still remember the first episode I ever heard about this concept. It was years ago. It was probably 5 years ago. And it blew my mind. I think I listened to it 3 times and everything started to make so much more sense. And I could not believe more people weren't talking about it, to be really, really honest. So before we get into this breakdown, I just want to say, yes, I absolutely believe in cycle syncing. I have seen firsthand how much more ease and flow I experience when I work with my body and my fluctuation of hormones instead of against it. But I don't use it as an excuse to not show up. Let me repeat that. I do not use it as an excuse to not show up. There are still weeks when the timing doesn't line up perfectly for me with my cycle. Sometimes launches or deadlines fall during my low energy phases, and I have to dig deep and make it work because I refuse not to. I'm not going to say, well, I have my cycle, so I can't do that today. No, I committed to doing something, I'm going to do it. So cycle syncing is really a tool. It's not a rigid rule book or anything. It's about awareness, not perfection. So you still get to run a successful business and show up when you need to. You just get to give yourself a little more grace along the way. And one more thing, the full moon, it absolutely wrecks my focus. I guarantee the next time you're having a really hard time focusing and you know that you're actually in a high energy phase of your cycle, check the moon. I have an app. I think it's just called Moon Cycles. I don't even know, but it can tell me immediately where the moon is. And I swear it is always a full moon. I don't know why. I feel distracted, emotionally heightened, and I have to really double down on simplifying my tasks and like quieting my nervous system. So if you ever feel like you're spiraling for no reason, just check the moon. You're not crazy. It's actually a thing. Talk to any teacher who deals with children on a full moon. Like something is in the air and something is different, and that's okay. So, all right, let's get into it. So the productivity and the content batching advice we hear online is built on a 24-hour cycle, and it's honest to God designed for men. As a menstruating female, we operate on a 28 to 32 day hormonal cycle, and our energy, creativity, and focus are going to ebb and flow according to that schedule. So when we try to push through or force ourselves to be the same every week or do the same things every week, we completely burn out and we feel frustrated. And, if you're like me, you think something's wrong with you, right? Well, spoiler alert, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You just haven't really been taught to sync your business with your biology and your body. So this episode is your permission slip to start building a business around your cycle and feel really empowered by doing it. So, step-by-step breakdown, the 4 phases and how to plan accordingly, okay? Phase 1 is your menstrual cycle. That's days 1 through 6 of your flow. A little mindset coaching here. If you're used to equating rest with laziness, this phase can actually be really hard for you. And it was for me, to be super honest. But I want you to remember this is when your body is literally shedding and renewing. It's a power down, power back up cycle. And I want you to think of it as like your CEO week of reflection. What worked this month? What content felt really aligned? What can be let go, right? But I don't want you to make any really big decisions during this week. Maybe you could use this week to sort of unsubscribe from the noise, right? Maybe you unfollow some accounts, you clean up your saved folders, you're archiving old content that no longer really reflects your brand. Again, it's like a shedding and a renewing, and the energy is going to be down, and that's okay. So listen to your body. Don't push it if you can help it, okay? Again, I have launched multiple times during this phase, and it was unfortunate, but I powered through and I gave myself a lot of grace throughout it. So phase 2 is going to be the follicular phase. That's days 7 through 13. So it's right after your period, right? This is when I brain dump post ideas or podcast ideas into my Google Doc that I love. It's very non-high tech. And I actually really enjoy writing captions during this time. I also like to look up or try to find new Canva templates that I could possibly use inside my content moving forward. It's not a time when I'm sitting down from scratch and designing, and I'm probably not creating reels out of the blue, right? I like to outline or update freebies or workflows that are happening, or maybe prep for an upcoming workshop by working on an outline or just finding the template I'm going to use for the presentation. It's basically a time when I'm organizing ideas and when my brain is really starting to fire on all cylinders. And it's sort of a slow process for me as these days 7 through 13 go. So next is phase 3, and this is your ovulatory phase. And this is quite short, right? This is when you're ovulating. It's only 2-3 days. It's days 14 through 16. I try to record my podcasts. I try to batch any video lessons that I need to. I am super into my voice DMs on Instagram at that point. If I'm going to teach something live or promote something that's coming up, this is a great time for me to do that. I am more magnetic during this phase. I show up with confidence. And you have a natural glow when you're ovulating. Okay. So I want you to lean into visibility and connection. And this is wild, but my husband is so in tune with my cycle. He legit will look at me and be like, "You're ovulating." And I'm like, "How did you know that, you freak?" He knows. He just can tell. It's crazy, but we've just kind of got it down to a science. And again, I share with him and I talk to him about it because he should know, right? And I actually have a tool that I'm going to talk about in a little bit that keeps us both on the same page as far as where I am in my cycle. So the time that you ignored something or felt too exhausted to try it in the previous phase or 2 phases, now is the time to really do it. Go for it. Try something new. Try new content. Try a new reel idea. Show up in stories more. I would suggest, if you are still trying to build up your confidence to show up on video, this is a great time for that. Last but not least, we have phase 4, and that is the luteal phase. And that is days 17 through 28 or 32, just depending on how long your cycle is. So this is a great time to start thinking about boundaries. Okay. So this is actually the phase I'm in right now. So this is a phase where I start to really overthink things if I'm not careful. I absolutely limit the big decisions that I'm potentially going to make in my business. I focus on checking off back-end to-dos. I like updating links or organizing files or writing my newsletter. I do like to batch during this time. It's definitely like my get it done energy zone, which is why I'm on my 3rd podcast of the day recording it. Like, I'm in the zone. I've got the focus. I've got the energy. I'm excited and I'm going for it because I know that next week, as I start getting closer and closer to my period, this is going to go down, 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 and everything's going to feel harder. And I'm going to question all the things. So that is what I've got for the luteal phase. Think about what types of content perform well when written during this phase. I find, again, newsletters. I do really well with writing newsletters during this phase. I do well with blog writing, but I do that almost every week. So, again, I'm just taking this all into consideration, but mainly that second half of my luteal phase and my menstruation phase are the 2 phases that I really need to be careful about what I'm scheduling and what I'm trying to work on. Okay. I would try not to start like a big project during your luteal phase unless you're really feeling called to do it. I certainly wait to do that when I'm more in the follicular or ovulatory. Those are my 2 phases where I'm like, let's effing go. Like, let's get things done. Right. So use your cycle to map out like a 4-week content flow if you want to. Week 1 is the planning and reviewing. So that is your menstruation time. That's days 1 through 6. Then week 2, maybe you're creating and batching. That's your follicular phase, days 7 through 13. That's where I am like, I have all the ideas for my content, right? And I'm like ready to get it done. Week 3 is maybe you're showing up and promoting things. That's that ovulatory phase. Very short, though, days 14 through 16. But what the heck? If you can plan to promote something or launch something during that time, by all means, go for it. And then you've got the week 4, which is like the editing and the organizing, right? That's the luteal phase. That's days 17 through 28. So how are you going to make this work? This is what everyone always asks me. How do I make this work if I'm on birth control or I'm perimenopausal? I want to say if you're on hormonal birth control, and again, I'm not like, a gynecologist or whatever. I'm not like a, cycle syncing expert, but your cycle is probably going to be a lot more regulated or even non-existent. And if that's you, I would just tune into your energy instead of your actual period. So maybe track your focus, motivation, creativity week to week and try to build your own rhythm. Or you could also focus on the cycles of the moon because that actually can work as well. I've heard it work for other people. If you're perimenopausal, like, hi, probably me, I am about to turn 44, things can feel maybe a little more all over the place. I'm not all over the place with my cycle yet. I'm super routine and consistent. But that's why having like a loose structure and giving yourself some options week to week can be really powerful, right? So it's not about perfection. It's just about awareness and flexibility and understanding and grace, if you're asking me. So, some of my favorite resources or tools that I use to help me sort of, stay attuned to this is I have an Aura ring, Oura. I got it for Christmas, not last year, but the year before. And it tracks my cycle. And it's incredibly spot on. It tells me when I'm going to be getting my period and it's tracking my temperature, and that's how it knows. So that's been a really, really helpful tool for me to know where I am in my cycle. Every day I open up the app on my phone, it gives me what day I am in my cycle. I also have an app called the Stardust app. It's free and it is for cycle tracking. And it does include the moon cycles as well. And the really cool thing is you can share a code with your significant other and they can download it as well and see where you are in your cycle. Now, I would murder my husband if he ever tried to call me out for being in a certain phase. He knows better than to do that. But he can discreetly pull it up and look and try to figure out if that's why I'm being maybe a little short with him, or like the way that he's, chewing his gum is really bothering me that week. Some other tools, of course, I actually added the moon cycles to my Google Calendar. That's an option that you can do. I'll try to link that in the show notes. Somebody shared that with me, so I can click that on in my Google Calendar and see the moon cycles. I also have added the day that I get my period is a recurring calendar alert every 29 days on my calendar. And then when it actually happens, I just drag it and move it to the appropriate day. And that really helps me too. It's just a red spot. It's a red circle. And that's that's all it says or shows on my calendar. And that really helps me sort of look ahead and know like, oh, okay. So like that week I'm getting my period. It's probably not the best day to commit to, showing up for somebody else's community or my own community to chat, right? Again, if I have to, I have to, and I will make it work. I do not use this as an excuse, but if I can set myself up for the most success, like I'm going to be doing that, right? And then a book that is just like phenomenal is In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti. I don't know if I'm saying your last name right, but this was a game changer for me. It was one of the books that was recommended on that first podcast I ever heard about this whole concept that just blew my mind wide open. And I binged it and it was just incredibly thought-provoking and interesting. So for the longest time, you guys, I just couldn't figure out why I would have like a magical week, a month where I could write 4 newsletters and batch a shit ton of content and, just flow through creating podcasts or writing newsletters, only to crash and burn the week after and feel disappointed and frustrated and insecure and all of that. But then once I started really tracking my cycle and aligning my business tasks to match it, everything started to feel easier, right? I stopped trying to film videos the week that I felt kind of gross and introverted and bloated. I saved all my design work for my luteal phase when my focus is on fire. And I finally gave myself permission to rest or maybe even watch a TV show during the day when I'm supposed to be working. That like almost never happens, but like once in a blue moon, I will do that. I feel a lot of guilt doing that for some reason, and that's my own problem, but I will give myself permission to rest, regroup, cancel a call, reschedule a call when I just don't have the energy to show up as my best self, right? Instead of pushing through and feeling burnt out. So it's not about doing less. It's really just about doing it smarter and with more compassion for yourself. So here are today's action plans. I want you to start tracking your cycle using an app. Maybe it's the Flow app, FLO. Maybe it's just your Google Calendar. Maybe it's your Aura Ring. Maybe it's the Stardust app. Okay. Next, I want you to try to map out the 4 phases and identify what business tasks are going to feel best for you in each one. And everyone's going to be different in this. I'm just giving you general guidelines or themes of what's worked for me, but it might not work for you. Try aligning just 1 week of content creation to your cycle and just kind of like see what shifts, right? I know this is a lot of information, a little like science-y and a little woo-woo. I'm all about the woo-woo. Heck, I mean, my membership's called The Coven. Come on now. But if you feel a little lost or you just want to like consume this and read it, feel free to head over to my website where I took all the notes for you. It's going to be thecreativebodega.com/blog/13. I've got you covered. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of this episode. Is this like too far out there for you? And hey, share it with the men in your life if you want to. Like, that would be huge. I would share this with my husband in a heartbeat. And maybe I will do that. So you don't have to keep pushing through the burnout. There's a better way. And it really starts with honoring your cycle. I'm Em from the Creative Bodega. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you on the next episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the Creative Bodega podcast. If you love this episode, please be sure to share it with a fellow solopreneur who could use a little content creation inspiration. And hey, don't forget to check out the show notes for any resources I mentioned on the episode to help you create content that feels easy and actually gets you results. If you want even more Canva and content tips, head over to my website, thecreativebodega.com, or find me on Instagram under the same name. Until next time, keep creating, keep showing up, and most importantly, try and have a little fun with your content. I'll see you on the next episode.